Hello and welcome. Today we're joined by David Jones, a local arable farmer and champion tractor racer as well. So Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm just touched 50 last year, which has come around very quickly.
Yes, it does, yeah.
As you say, we're cropping around 1,100 hectares just outside Stratford-on-Avon on some very mixed sort of Warwickshire soil types, quite undulating land, quite challenging. And we also have a sort of sister farm down in Bedfordshire.
Okay.
About 1,200 hectares, very similar as in all cereals, combinable crops. That's managed by Andrew Robinson, who does an excellent job for us. So Andrew's down there with his team, and I'm up here in Warwickshire, where the family, where we're all based, and that's how we roll.
Nice. Yeah, it's very good. I guess probably what I chat to you today about was really, I'm always impressed when I see your crops always looking good nick and good order. And I remember one time you came in with your dad and we talked about, the importance of looking after the land and making sure your drainage was right and you putting your investment into getting that field right to make it yield the most possible. Is that sort of a philosophy you work on, or?
Well, I suppose I grew up in a land drainage business. So,
Okay.
Dad grew up in farming in a smaller way. Left school, worked milking cows, then progressed onto an arable farm, and then got into that sort of, am I going to continue, working in the farming, or am I going to go my own way? And Dad then took the plunge and borrowed 800 quid off my uncle,
Okay.
and bought a little Massey digger. But back then it was a big step, and into a world in construction, thinking he'd go more construction. Well, in the construction world back then, he hadn't been trained, so he was teaching himself.
Yeah.
Found it quite intimidating, difficult on building sites. Been very young into it.
Yeah.
And that's when he sort of thought, well, I know the farming side of it. I'll give that a go.
So you got into drainage at that point.
So I started ditching, laying water pipe, all the the smaller basic things, and learnt, and that progressed to a land drainage machine. That first land drainage machine bought our first house.
Okay.
Which back in Martin, little place there, and then within a few years, Dad had bought his first bit of land, about 60 acres, and then progressed with that, put a little building on there, then sold that, and then bought a little farm, and
grew it from there.
And that was with the digger and the land drainage and the machinery and a good team of hard-working lads.
Yeah.
So I grew up around farming on my mum's side. On the Edgar side, they were all sort of known farmers and done it a long time. And Dad was more contractor, so I grew up with both.
Yeah. Okay. Saw both sides of it really.
But, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, it is a massively important thing. That's kind of probably why we've been having these conversations with different people. Yeah, there's so many challenges out there we can't control in farming. Big ones, obviously the weather. You can never control what the weather does, and obviously then there's been external influences as well, whether that be coming from the government or whether that be coming from prices, which nowadays are global. Can't control that.
Yeah.
And I guess probably what we're sort of talking about is what things can we control. What steps can we take to make sure we're getting the best we possibly can?
Well, I think stems back to all them years back of assessing land. I was taught by Dad about obviously the land drainage, repairing old land drains, ditching, culverts, all the boundary sort of stuff that can easily get overlooked. And us being arable, we have the time to do that, and that's what people just think. You have these off seasons. We don't really, because we're maintaining ditches, hedgerows, all that sort of stuff.
Making sure that's all right when you
repairing land drains, putting in schemes if we need to, smaller schemes. But obviously back in 70s, especially the 80s, there was a 60% government grant to drain land.
Yeah.
And we're all still actually farming off that.
Really, yeah.
You know, I still now put a kitty to side for maintenance drainage.
Yeah.
But to be honest, and certainly around Warwickshire, there's a lot of land in cereal production that wouldn't be without that drainage.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you know, the land here is
It's heavy.
really heavy, and we got clay drains in here as well, because otherwise
Yeah. And then we progressed to plastic drainage, some up to half a mile long coils of plastic, but the stone element of it's really important.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of drainage done back in the day that never had stone. Well, over time, we've seen now that things have silted, and that drainage is probably half the life of what has got drainage.
Yeah.
And back then there was sort of the idea that this plastic stone drainage would be around for 25 years. Well, it's knocking 50.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And if it's maintained well, it will go longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and you talk about maintenance and off season. I know another thing you're always passionate about is making sure your machinery is up to scratch in the off season as well.
Yeah, well, that comes from, Dad with his land drainage equipment. He'd got to be out there doing it, so they were always maintaining and doing that. Plus, to keep costs down, got to be in good shape. I was very fortunate. I left school at 15. Got an arable job on a neighbouring farm with a really good guy he was very particular how he liked it done.
Yeah.
But that was sort of in me anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was great. Learnt a lot there on a smaller 300-acre farm, mixed as in heavy land, bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then I progressed from there. Went to Moral, did the MRAM machinery repair intensive course for 3-4 months, which was right up my street. It was great. Covering engines and welding, fabrication, all the stuff that skilled tractor drivers wanted to learn.
Yeah.
So that was good, and then that put me in good shape to go to David Hill's, R Hill and Sons at Coventry, which were very progressive arable farmers back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And David was very forward thinking with looking at soils and more of the reduced tillage.
Yeah, okay. So really back then he was focusing on what was going on then. Yeah, okay.
So he was running wider equipment specific to certain fields with subsoiling, checking soil profiles with a spade, how deep you're going to cultivate, how quick you're going to do it, how much output that you're going to get. He really taught me that thing about acres.
Yeah, okay.
How to get across acres. And it hasn't left me.
No, and also like you said there, like making it bespoke for each piece of land.
Yeah.
It's not one size fits all, is it? I mean, we often say that people come and say, "Oh, well, if you were me, what drill would you buy?" So, well, that's kind of dependent on so many factors.
Well, that was when it was a really good, probably era for me to be. I was 19 then, keen as keen. Getting really the opportunity to work on the latest up-to-date equipment then, bigger stuff. So, David had, and Roland had a lot of Ford tractors back then, TWs, but then they were progressing they'd found an Arctic John Deere.
Okay.
Dual-wheel John Deere, and then they had a brand new Magnum 7130 back in 1990.
Wow.
Well, then that was
pretty advanced for his day.
220 horse tractor with a bit of a tweak.
Yeah.
But that tractor could be jewelled all round to pull 5.5 metre dads or discs with a press.
Yeah, yeah.
It would plough with 8 furrows.
Yeah.
And then it pulled the 6 metre rapid drill.
Yeah.
And suddenly, we were used to ploughing, pressing, power harrows. Great. There's still nothing wrong with all that today. There's a place for it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then David could see that he could farm a lot more land with fewer people.
Yeah.
But those fewer people were more skilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the outputs came, and then the equipment evolved as well. And and that was my introduction to Väderstad in 1993.
Okay.
At David Hill's. I remember before I got the job there, we went to an open day back then that Merleys would have hosted. Local dealers.
Yeah.
And and back then there seemed to be this buzz about new techniques. And I think it still is.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but it was quite a wow.
Yeah.
And to see, you know, a Magnum American sort of built tractor on dual wheels with a 6 metre
Pulling.
drill going straight onto ploughing, and it was drilled.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know, it's amazing. And suddenly I was really into that and understood what Dave was trying to achieve. He taught me a lot,
Yeah.
as an operator, but also actually more than just that.
What to think about and
what
look
we've got
at.
to achieve.
Yeah.
And that's never left me.
No.
And I still go back to those basics today. Every year when I'm assessing the farm, assessing the fields, I do have a spade with me. I dig a hole. I check the depths where, you know, and certainly the last 2 or 3 seasons where we've had this erratic sort of very wet, very dry. It's bizarre how what you needed to do one year to, you know, remove compaction, remove the harvest traffic, everything else. But then if you had the dry year following, how much even less we can do.
Yeah, completely different. Yeah, so, absolutely.
And the way I sort of put it is I do what the crop needs.
Yeah.
So if we've had a wet harvest, we run track combines, you know, we keep trailers to tram lines, do all the stuff to try and, you know, ease that. We don't bale straw, you know, just for the sake of it.
No.
I'm quite specific where we bale, where we don't.
Yeah.
The straw incorporation over the years has made a big difference to our mixed soils.
Interesting.
And then the incorporation element of that. How are we going to put all that straw back in the ground?
Yeah.
And that's when, you know, in the late 90s, seeing and driving those early Väderstad machines, and then going back home onto our own land at 21.
Taking those things with you, yeah.
With those options. And when we went to Stratford, you know, the previous owners had some good equipment, but there was that opportunity. Well, we'll start with some of it. Some of it was older, some of it was a bit younger. We'll go with it and gradually.
But you had a goal in mind of what you actually wanted to achieve it to, yeah.
And that was sort of going from four people that would have been there pretty much full time to 2 and myself.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Interesting. Narrowed it down, yeah. No, and the other thing, I know you're always a Väderstad fan. What makes you? What do you like most about Väderstad? Why does their kit suit you? Or
I think in the very early days was the fact they got a product, but they put the training with it.
Okay.
Because they were complex.
Yeah.
They still are complex.
Yeah.
You know, from when I left school using a massey drill, which was a great drill, but that's all it did.
Yeah,
it
quite different.
It
quite
drilled
different,
and we put some arrows behind it. It covered seed. It did a great job. Whereas the Rapid was, you know, that versatility of that drill. I think, and still today, that's why we run. Still today,
it's amazing. I was thinking the other day, actually, amazing about the Rapid that it's not really changed much all those years, has it? I mean, they got it right.
There's a lot of that. There's if you've got things right, why change?
Yeah,
but there's a lot of tweaks.
Yeah.
You know, from our very early drills with the fixed tines.
Yeah.
The single row wheels. You know, with the beaded tread. All those things that had the limits.
Yeah.
And then they've evolved.
Evolved it, yeah.
To staggered wheels, bigger hoppers. We've found the 8 metre machine over the 6 spreads its weight better. Actually carries better than some of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
But one thing I did do in the very early days was when we had a quad track in '99. We went from a wheeled Steiger mainly because we could farm downhill really well.
Yeah.
But we couldn't farm back uphill, and that's when the quad track came into its own.
Yeah.
But I started drilling with the quad track as well.
Yes.
So I had a 400 horsepower 9380 in 1999, and that was doing the preparation, the deep work, the shallower work, and then I put the drill on it. And that transformed our outputs of drilling because we were flying up the banks as well as coming down them.
Yeah.
But the actual placement, seed placement, and everything was so much better.
Was better, more accurate. Yeah. Okay.
And then the drills evolved, but so with Väderstad, I've learnt a lot from them, and I've had that relationship with them now over nearly 26-7 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and it developed from learning from them as an operator, but then hosting things for them.
And now the communication's two-way, that you can.
And we work on projects with them. They use some of our facilities, but it's still very much a two-way thing. I'm always learning from them, and I've grown with that. But as a farmer, but owner-operator as well, I'd still like to use a lot of the equipment. Richard, Peter that work with me full-time, great guys. They're the same. We all like to do what.
Yeah, they know the kit and they can.
But
absolutely.
it's nice that I do have that in-field knowledge with it, and the setup. You know, the Väderstad machinery is absolutely fantastic, but it's that setup. There's a lot of adjustments, but they're there for a reason.
Once you've got it working for you, it's.
And the same. A lot of things we hear. And people, rightly comment to me, "Oh, you haven't really moved on." With why you. Well, I've been planting with a Rapid now for, what is it, 27 years. And it's the only drill we've had on, certainly at Stratford, in our time there. And on the heavy land in Bedford, Andrew's got that land in really good condition, but he still favours, not through us,
this was just what
pressurising him. He likes
what he prefers.
the job it does.
But and in that respect, if it's not broken, it's still producing for you. You're still getting the yields you need to get. And you could jeopardise all the effort you've put in by trying to.
Well, that's just it, and it's consistency.
Yeah.
Every year, a bad year, a wet year, we've learnt how to still run the same drill. I don't have a wet drill.
No.
I have the same drill.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But we've altered the elements on the front. So, years ago we had the system disc. Now we prefer the griller time, because a lot of the time we don't need that element of cultivation, but for headlands and awkward parts, it's there.
Yeah, okay.
So we can drop the tines in. Around the headlands we can ease the turns. What we've in the middle of the field drill the headlands last. And it's those bits that suddenly...
Yeah, so you run it with a system time then, do you?
Griller.
Yeah,
griller time. Hydraulic adjustable. And then Andrew down at Bedford had seen how we were getting on with that, and I think I've been running like that since 2010.
Okay.
And now we still have we're in the last 4 years with my drill been 16 seasons old. Done a lot of work, but it still looks great. Maintained it well. Grease is very important. Yeah, very.
It's definitely a thing that and that comes down to training your operators, doesn't it? If they
the difference with a Rapid that gets the grease on the wheel forks, all the areas, the moving areas, what a difference! And it still goes back to that thing behind the seat, the book.
Yeah.
The operator book. They're not far wrong.
No.
The intervals in it are very good. We do follow that, and at times do a lot more as well. If it's very dry, we add a bit more grease. More often. And it's just that feel of what it takes.
Yeah, and that's being used to the machine and knowing what you're doing with it, I suppose, isn't it?
But the metal quality is still very good.
Yeah.
The paint. I've cleaned machines up, as you guys know. You've had a couple of customers that have come to us, and we've sold some of our own used equipment off the farm with you, and I'm very proud about the fact we can make something that's done 10 years work still look
nice. Exactly.
Like the year old it came, and that makes a massive difference on the cost per change.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking earlier when we were saying about you might say an arable farmer has downtime, but there's so much that you can do in that so-called downtime, which actually long term will give you a massive saving, a massive benefit. I mean, it's the same with your quad track as well, isn't it? I mean, they're knocking on them.
Yeah, we've got my oldest one at Stratford's a 2012 600 quad track 600. A powerhouse, but a lot of the time it doesn't have to run on kill because it's boss of the job.
And
and it's done what are we up to now? I don't know, 6,000 something hours. It's still on the original tracks. We're not charging. We do some road work, but we've learned keep the speeds down. Things like that. Alternating field turns in the fields. All those sort of things that the manufacturers learn.
Yeah.
Well, we might as well do it.
Like you say, it's worth learning off them if they've done it.
And there is so much of that. And equally, I've got some younger ones that come to us in ours. Well, I give them the opportunity to have a go on those machines, but I start them off right. You've got to respect it. It's powerful.
It is.
If you don't, the machine will, you can harm stuff.
Yeah.
And the best made stuff in the world. If you go too hard at it.
Yeah, with 600 horses on the front, I mean, you can pull anything to bits.
28 tons.
Yeah.
It doesn't give.
No.
But you control that with your right hand, basically.
Yeah.
And in the very dry years, like last year, where we had that one, was it 8-9 months of dry?
Yeah, it was from like sort of spring right through, wasn't it? It hardly had a.
And we used exactly the same equipment. We ran the top downs. We used the carrier. We chose to incorporate the straw even in the dry time. When yes, straw was a good price, but for me it was the fact we were actually conserving some moisture.
Exactly.
And that actually shows in the crops now. They've got more height in them. They've got we've had the wet weather. It's kept the ground open. But that and that's all that learning from them. What these 4 or 5 different elements on a machine you can do, and then over time the wear metal's really improved.
Yeah.
So the marathon range of metal, the tungsten stuff, is a game changer.
Yeah.
It's in downtime.
It's worth the investment to.
Well, it's always doing that job it's designed to do until it's finished.
Okay. Yeah. Whereas,
your general cast materials change. That
the
rake
angle will
of the
change.
job.
Yeah.
And then you can. I've had it myself. I've pulled into a 120 acre field with a brand new set of points. Years ago, and you're trundling along. You get through 90 acres, and then you've got 20 acres of headlands. And that's when you really want a good time, but they're worn out.
And then the sort of risk is, just get it done with these ones, and then you start damaging things and wearing legs out. And
you haven't done the job.
No, it hasn't done the job it's meant to do.
Actually, the headland is the bit that really needs it.
Yeah.
So we've learnt a lot with that, and looking at combine yield maps. And one thing many years ago when we started analysing the yields and things with the combines was actually, well, we've got 25% of the farm's headlands. We can really improve this.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So there's actually, if you think about it, there's that much land which is headland and could, if it's not careful, could be a bad yielding.
Yeah, it could. And especially in these wetter years, like the previous. Don't get me wrong. We had some low-lying headlands and bits and bobs that drilled pretty good, but we had such a lot of rain, you couldn't avoid a bit of runoff and some settlement. But we got away with a lot of it. Yeah. And we didn't have sort of vast areas of failure. It was low pockets and awkward headlands that I hate to see that, but that's reality. But we minimised it.
Yeah, that's the thing, I suppose, and using analysis to minimise it, isn't it? It's using the
data. We've got so much data.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's scary because, just came in my pickup. That's 6 years old, but it bings and bongs and tells you all these different things. Well, all I have to do is drive here.
Yeah.
And
no, absolutely. And that's the one thing that, there's some things that they're, we're probably not at a stage where robots are going to run the farms yet, but we are at a stage where we can utilise the data we've been given.
Yeah.
And that these machines produce so much information.
They're collecting information, and I think we have to be careful who for.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we're very good at collecting it and just using it.
Well, at the moment, it's probably the combine manufacturer.
Well, yeah, and then that data gets shared. How much grain's around, what's the areas, all that stuff. And I've always been taught not to be secretive, but keep a bit back. And that's gone a long way for me to be involved in a lot of these projects I have with manufacturers is trust and keeping quiet. You know, if you're on some on a project, you know, for future development, it's really important that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And we host a lot of young farmer visits through the winter. We've got one coming up in a week's time. Really enjoy doing that because it's me putting a bit back, but equally I'm filling a bit of a gap for them as operators or whatever they want to learn. I said to them, we're happy to share some of our experience with you if it gains you 5 years.
Well, exactly. That's exactly the point, isn't it? I mean, if you've learnt something, you might as well pass it on rather than them having to make all the mistakes.
Exactly, and that's where more than happy to share information. But there's an element of confidentiality sometimes has a place, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
And I was taught that very early on, and it's been really, really useful for me to learn. So I enjoy that.
And the crops, are they looking good for the coming year?
Yeah, well, thankfully, last autumn was so good in that aspect. We had that dry weather. Yields obviously had a bit of a penalty with the dry. Grain quality, we're milling wheat growers. That's the only wheat we grow. So fortunately, quality's good. But as we know, there's globally is just too much of it around at the moment. But actually, what's in the ground's in good condition. You know, anything from that previous year we checked, removed any compaction at whatever depth whether that was, 100 mil, 200 mil, whatever it needed, was corrected. Headlands, from what we were saying, that awkward wet, and excuse me, and we're just starting some liquid fertiliser earlier today, and the crops have got potential. And
that's the main thing. Is just like I say, at the moment, price isn't where it needs to be, but if you got some in good condition, who knows with the current things out there in the world? Goodness knows what's going to happen.
Things have changed rapidly in the last few days.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Dad's always sort of said that. Well, what we're growing now, we don't know when we're selling it yet.
No,
absolutely. And look back just during COVID, suddenly we were making money of oilseed rape we'd never ever seen. But we've got to bank that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to
keep that.
Keep the good years to.
Yeah. And like for us, we don't run all new equipment.
No.
We've got some equipment 25 years old, but the really important machines like the sprayer, that's our most used machine. That we try and rotate that every 7 or 8 years in the system, or a bit sooner depending. The combine's done 8 seasons, but we invested in a McDon header 4 seasons ago. That's been a game changer for output, timeliness. You have no fear then of what crop you grow as well. We do grow some peas in the rotation, which we're getting the benefit for first weeks after. But the header is one massive change. But on the crop sprayer, the pulse width modulation, so for application, so it as we turn around headlands, it moves and places it the same.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
But the big benefit for us is the breezes don't affect us anywhere near like they used to. So we in the days where it's we're monitoring the wind speeds and things, but actually on the ground the drift is so much more reduced, and then the application is better.
It's better, yeah.
So for as we know in Warwickshire, blackgrass is
quite a thing. Yeah.
Everybody hates it with a passion. But then when I grew up, leaving school, I can remember back then chemicals ran out of control, and then we lost IPU and those things, and then we went through this phase of you could see more blackgrass than wheat, and then the plough was a massive importance. Yeah. But the plough's still important to us. We do plough in rotation.
We've had the last probably 2 years. Even this last year that was dry, we sold many ploughs as we could get hold of. And it wasn't just because of the wet weather. Like you say, it's a lot of it's people have got a weed bed and they got to try and handle or
agronomy. I think that's what people are really realising. It's that mix up of we can't just do it with a sprayer. It's really useful.
Absolutely,
but the
it's
cultivation
involving
now is a massive part of that.
It's involving the whole thing, and like you say, it's
And drilling dates. You know,
Yeah.
we were out with our agronomist yesterday, and you know, there's a point we have to start drilling. You know, if we had a crystal ball, you'd probably wait till the 1st of November, do it in that week, and happy days. But you know, last year with that such good weather, it's how long do we wait? How long do we wait? We'd got a really good flush. We took that out, but it's still noticeable. You know, I'm very pleased with what the herbicides and pre-emergence has done, but it shows the latter drilling is really clean.
Yes, okay.
You know, and you know, it's all manageable.
Yeah.
But
It's always the gamble.
but a very good established crop is as good a way around it as any.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And as you say, it's always a gamble of knowing when to do it. But it's having everything in place so that when you get that window of opportunity, if you're well prepared.
Well, that's like us now. For years, I drilled with 1 8-metre, and you know, at times during the you had to ride it to get it done. Especially when windows were less. But we've chose to actually double up with our drilling capacity with an older drill.
Yeah, and it makes it worthwhile, because then you can get that done in that window.
Well, when you know, now I've got skilled people around me that look, Peter or Richard drop on a drill as well, but now that difference of having 2 drills with actual worth, realistically, those 2 drills one's an 07, one's a 2010. Realistically, they're really nice, tidy things, but the value of those combined wouldn't be half a brand new drill.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So we do have 16 metres, yes, on 2 operators, 2 tractors, but the outputs are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we're still getting that placement and precision we want.
Yeah, and still producing what you need. Yeah.
And in the future, you know, it's not saying we'll stay like that, you know, forevermore, but as drills progress and things do get wider, but at the moment, rather than commit to, say, a 12-metre drill that we're perhaps unsure about, we've almost doubled up on what we know works for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like you say, it's what works for you. So it's, if you're going to make all that forward planning has got to be considered. It's not like, hey, we could pull a 12-metre drill now. So, well, hang on, let's see what's actually the best thing for the farm currently.
Yeah, and we it's not for being blinkered that, you know, all the brands have all their great features, don't they? But for us, it's the fact of the succession of using the same thing so long. We've learned how to get the best out of it in the wet or dry. And while that's there, it works. And I'm sure you're seeing the pattern. There's more people perhaps doubling up on machines for that reason, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And going back, sometimes it's a case of people trying things and then saying, do you know what, this didn't work as well as what I wanted to do, what I used to do. I'm going to continue to do what I used to do, or just trial it. I mean, obviously we hire machinery now, and some people use that as a trial.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a good idea.
I've never, you know, they might say, you know, I've never tried a direct time drill before. I've got a few acres to put in this spring. Let's put it in, see what comes up.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea, and again, it's what you find fits, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
it's got to be what works for you. Yeah.
We've found what fits, and then the big part for us is the residual values. You know, we can run a machine like that. We could change discs and coulters, and you know, I think I've changed on my drill, I think seven times I've changed the discs and coulters.
Okay.
I know
how
sharp they are, and
totally.
But I have no worries with that, because the rest of the drills is great, and if we cleaned it up today to sell, it's still a very useful.
It's all ready
machine,
to go, yeah.
But it's still worth, you know, in the 20,000s. You know, and when you think what that drill was,
probably doesn't owe you much, does it?
No, it's grown a lot of corn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's how we try and gauge things.
Oh, before we finish off, Dave, we just got to touch on tractor racing. I know it's something you've had quite a passion with.
Yeah, tractor pulling. Yeah. It's
Tractor pulling, sorry, yeah.
No, well, similar thing. It's a bit bizarre, isn't it? It's something that Dad and my uncle and friends, John Bone Jones and others back in the 70s, when they were all starting out in business, working hard, but looking for a reason to, how can we get away from a bit of work? And
that's what I was thinking about this the other day. I think something like this it's a really nice thing for because we know farming's a pretty hard job. You don't get much time off, but if there's that, having that interest something that's a bit of fun, and I guess you can gather a bit socially on it, and a few people come and watch, do they, or how does it work?
Well, back from the early days for us in Warwickshire, the tractor pulling, Dad and Uncle Bill and others around took it to the Royal Show.
Okay.
And still to this day, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I was at the Royal Show, and sat on the bank and heard this noise," and a lot of people saw it then. It's progressed now into a more professional event. We've got up north, Lancashire way. There's two fantastic events up there a year that are set up for the job. They can get anywhere from 10,000, 12,000 people.
Really?
And
it's a good crowd.
And it's a great following. And but the equipment's got better. In the early days, it was a Fordson Major. Dad and Bill built the first modified Major.
Okay.
In '78, and then you'd got truck engines on chassis, and then now there's categories to suit what people want to do.
So what's just Smokey? Is it just Smokey?
That's it. Yeah, that. So I grew up with a more farm-based machine, which Dad used, which was the Smokey Joe 2, which was an 8600 Ford, and back then we probably aiming towards 900, 1,000 horsepower with it on diesel, with farm bits, tractor parts, water injection that we made, all those things. And then I loved all that, loved the engineering of it. And then there was an opportunity in the early 2000s. I was invited over to America to see what they were up to, and saw these alcohol machines, which is basically they're the highest tuned category with manufacturer's hoodwork on.
Okay.
And it's built on a proper chassis now for the job. So it's got dimensions to suit, so it keeps the look of a tractor. But we're basically using strong chassis rails, truck rear axle with needle roller differential, big rotored brakes to steer the machine, and we're allowed to take a farm OEM block, tractor block, and our class limit is about 11 litres. We can take that too.
Okay.
So 650 cubic inches, 11 litres.
Wow.
We can add four turbochargers maximum in 2 stages, and you can either use diesel or methanol fuel. Well, I was very fortunate to meet the guys in America who were leading the pack with methanol.
Methanol, okay.
And I thought, this is on another page, And back then they were talking 3,000 horsepower of an international tractor block that was 120 horsepower, and we've gone from that. I learnt the fuel system, learnt the maintenance, and we built this tractor back then, and we've had many years of success. We've done the British, we've been to Europe, we've done some of the Euro Cup series, we've done indoor events, and up till about 2010, 11, that I concentrate. We did the Euro Cup series as well as the British, but as work has got busier, it's unfortunately an awkward time of year. It's amazing how many acres you do 3 or 4 days before an event, because
trying to get
that is the sort of upside of it. It's like we've really got to push on, because if we're not going to there, we're not going if we don't. And I'm very much work is first. But over the years, the tractor's evolved. There's a lot of engineering in it, which I've learnt. And people that work on it with me now, Peter and John, engineering our yard, and we've all put a little bit to it. And now we're pushing towards the 5,000 horsepower.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're knowing this because people are,
Yeah.
these machines have been dynoed now, and it's not a toy.
No,
It's,
that's a lot of horsepower, isn't it? What sort of speeds do you get up to then? Are you
so
doing a pull?
we in our category, the sledge behind the weight transfer is around, I think we're around 22, 23 tons with the whole sledge, and then we'd have around 6 tons of that weight is in the box on the top of the rails. So that starts at the back, and then it's land driven off the axles to drive the box down.
So it drives it forward. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So we can be pushing nearly 100 mile an hour wheel speed.
Wow.
With 6,000 to 7,000 RPM engine RPMs, which that block was designed to do 2, 3, 2.5.
So occasionally they do blow up.
Unfortunately, they over all the years I've been with good maintenance and learning from good people. I have avoided a lot of that. I put a conrod through the side of the block in 2010, and that was night before, it was the end of the year, we'd won our championship, and the event organisers, would you like to do a demonstration run on the Sunday? Got a good crowd, yeah, why not, that'll be fine. And it was a mega hot day, and I misjudged the weight, because the tractor weighs 3,500 kgs, 3.5 ton, and that's max weight, and it's really important. It's not a lot of weight for what we're trying to do.
No, it's not, no.
And we have to move the weight around the machine to get the balance. It's critical we get the front off the ground to get the transfer. And the track was drying out very quickly, and I misjudged the weight. I ran with the weight I did the night before, and basically the front stayed very nose heavy. As much as I was trying to get that lift, and before I knew it, the motor RPM had crept up, and we'd getting towards 7,500. And that's where the connecting rods.
So that's interesting. See, when you're driving, it's not just a case of sort of getting on and giving it everything.
No,
you've got to watch all of those dials and make sure nothing's going too high or too. Yeah, okay.
And that's where a lot of the field craft of farming
actually comes into the
does
same.
Come in, because we're basically doing what we're trying to optimise in some ways in the field with the machinery, but this is in 8 seconds, 9 seconds, and it's. It's a ferocious thing when, and I'm very fortunate. I've grown up with smaller machines and developed this to where we are now. But it's a freight train. Yeah. I've been down the track. You're asking speeds. We can be touching over 55, 60 kilometres an hour in that first 3 seconds.
Really? Wow.
And you've got 23 ton behind you, and then that's trying to catch you, and then stop you. And there's. What I find fascinating is one of the people, the people we've met, the people you meet. It was actually many years ago. Our local welding supplies, Grange Supplies. I was in there getting some welding materials, asking who's good at stainless welding, and of course the guys there were selling this stuff all around. Oh, you need to go and see Steve Collins at Kyneton.
At Kyneton, yeah.
And I was like, who's Steve Collins?
Yeah.
Oh, you go and see him, you'll be fine. And
he was a welder, wasn't he? Oh.
Well, Steve was a blacksmith, wasn't he? But in his shed, and I was said, you go and see Steve, because we wanted to make manifolds. We wanted to make this thing look a bit of art, really, rather than just it works. And I went to see Steve and. Walked in and he was like, what do you want? And he would. And I said, well, still, no, I'm not into, I don't build motorsport stuff. I said, well, can we have a look at it? And we got things in common. Steve had worked for done a lot of fabrication for local farm, Forsyth, everybody around. Yeah. And I said, I want to, all right. So we started engineering the back plates and all. I was getting all the materials, but we wanted it on another level, and that is a lot of that has been the success of the tractor, because we did it right once.
Yeah.
And things that were really important didn't fail.
I'd forgotten old Steve. He came here once and did did some welding training with you.
Brilliant.
As he was a craftsman, yeah.
Oh, and there's still a lot of all that same fabrication we did then.
That's still part of the tractor now.
On the tractor, yeah, and that's
amazing.
And that has avoided a lot of fires, a lot of catastrophes, because he did his bit so well, and it still looks great. So testament to Steve.
It's a good downtime, I guess, anyway, to have something like that, to go back, to give you a break from the farm and say, right, do you know what, there's a weekend off now and we can have some fun. And
we do push towards it. It's tricky and it's bizarre this day and age. There's not that many farmers actually in the sport. There's some, but there's quite a lot of haulage people or other agricultural engineering people, all sorts. But actual farmers.
I would have thought it'd be interesting. Maybe more should get come along and see you. And
we get a lot. We get a lot of supporters. Year on year come to the events, and that.
End of the day, mostly farmers like a big engine tractor. And
support wise, a lot of farmers come and spectate, but actually competing.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we like about it. It's a great mix of people. Yeah. We're all learning off each other. We've got friends in Holland, America, Denmark, all over.
Nice community
and everybody's like-minded. They're either involved in trucks or agriculture in some way, engineering, farm machinery. There's a genuine sort of interest across the board.
Yeah.
And that's why we enjoy it. But driving the machine's great, but actually I really enjoy the nights and time when I'm just improving it.
The engineering side,
yeah.
Very interesting. Well, I won't keep you too much longer then, Dave. That's been a good chat. So what do you think? Let's round this up then by what do you think is going to be important for someone today, looking ahead at all the things that are ahead? What decisions do we need to make today that are going to?
I think we've got to, in some ways, we have to look back a little bit of what has worked in the past. I know we should always look to tomorrow, but for me, it's that consistency of in the past what does work.
Yeah.
In the awkward years, what we learnt that doesn't work, and what we do about how we alter that or what we do. It's getting a lot more difficult planning ahead because the uncertainty of all our input costs, fuels, fertilizers, wear metal, all these things, it's costing everybody more, and it's costing the people that produce them more.
Absolutely.
So we've got to plan. We do a lot more planning with our wear metal buy-in times a year, machinery choices. We do a bit more homework with that, and stretching out. Which machines are really important that we see. Balancing those values are the ones that we can sell more often, or the ones that we keep longer. But that's what's great. Like coming in your yard here, you've got so much choice, and you can see that. And as well, that adds. People that are interested in all the machinery and bettering, they can come here and chop one machine and take.
Yeah, exactly. Keep just changing stuff around, mixing it up, seeing what's working, and like you say, it takes looking back to look ahead.
I think so, yeah.
And yes, there's lots of new technologies and things open to people, which is great. You can incorporate it, but always taking those learnings ahead of what's been involved.
And for me, I still think it's what works, what does bring us that yield and bit of consistency. But then how can we improve that, and where do we reduce inputs, but we don't reduce our quality and yield? That's really important. But no, going for and people. People's the thing.
Having the right people.
We can't do more with the wrong people.
Yeah.
We can do more, but we end up with less. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
And good people, training or utilising that. Like my aim 4 or 5 years ago was starting to think, how can we actually utilise or get towards perhaps a 60-hour week, or average that, looking at it across the year rather than these massive spells of we've all done it, trying to do 100, 110 hours a week at peak times.
Not sustainable, really. Yeah.
Well, people have got different lives to lead, haven't they? So, we look at that as well. But I think for me, it's the balance of technology against the cost, but then what delivers yield and quality.
Brilliant. Well, thank you. I think it's a good place to wrap up.
Ace.
Thanks for your time.
Good
Good
to
man.
see you.
Thank you.